So what is the end game for Physician Associates? Assuming everything goes smoothly with this current consultation and we get regulated, then what? We wait a few years and inevitably we'll start prescribing, ordering ionizing radiations. And then what? Stay put and ride the wave of the healthcare system? At least whatever will be left of it during that period. That surely cannot be all. I have this hunch that Parkinson's law will take effect. As long as there is space, we will expand. But with the GMC being our regulators in that hypothetical future, and also regulating our bros from another mother, I wonder how they'll strike this balance. Because even with the current state of affairs, that's notwithstanding our current limitations, some are crying scope creep and the loss of training opportunities. The GMC will prove very fundamental in this role because they'll be the ones determining the curriculum of physician associates being trained and the scope of practice within that legislative work. From the papers currently under consultation and what I've read so far, I have not seen any clear line saying this is the limit of practice of physician associates. However, we are always called upon to practice within our scope. If following regulation, this line is not expressed in unequivocal terms, I fear our relationships will sour with our brothers. Because PAs will rightly seek training in territories that are currently not apparent. Their barriers of old will be longer. Looking at the recent BMA meetings by our bros in the motions past, they have no plan to sit on the sideline and watch this happen. Some feel betrayed by their kins and elders they once looked up to. Others scheme to undermine us in broad daylight, whilst others swear by Asclepius to put us where we belong, doing the scat work as they call it. You might assume that is what we signed up for, but no, and I won't hold it against you. The pitch we got appears to be rather different from how the role was sold to you guys. And reality currently seems to be favoring the one we got. Sometimes I try to put myself in the shoes of our bros in an attempt to understand their grievances, and to a certain extent you can't fault them for their annoyance, but to go that far, to scheme and plot to undermine your colleagues, I think is frankly too far and should be beneath you. Personally, I feel the energy exerted could be more fruitful if it were directed at the NHS itself and the handicap of your rotational training. The NHS, because it is a monopsony with no real competitors, and as such the incentives it has to make any changes are next to zero. I often hear cries from our bros about true value. There is nothing as such. You are only sold at the price you accept. If currently you guys think £14 an hour is pitiful, believe you me, if they had their way, they'll pay you £10 an hour. I'm not trying to be inflammatory, but that is the truth. You may feel that perhaps you are worth £40 an hour, £30 an hour, but that price you put on yourself becomes an economic reality only if someone else is willing to pay for that price. Since goods and services flow to their most needed use and prices convey this information in a system such as the NHS, this flow is stifled, which leads to an inefficient allocation of resources and a reduction in the quality of living of all of us. You might be wondering why I'm speaking about our bros as if they are goods. Because indeed, that's what they are. That's what we all are. The medical knowledge in their heads is the resource. The sick people, the patients, are the customers. The NHS is the barrier. It's the third party in between them, the supplier, and those demanding. You take the NHS out of it, these two people, that is, the clinician and the patient, can agree on terms, mutually beneficial. But if you bring the third person inside, whatever is agreed upon will definitely be less beneficial to this guy and that guy, because this person also has to work. On the other hand, imagine a free market in which other institutions exist where our bros can complete their whole training from foundation to CCT. Suddenly, the NHS would realize that someone else values these same individuals they are paying £14 an hour a bit more. This will be conveyed by the price they decide to pay for your services. They'll pay you more, and as a result, even your colleagues still remaining in the NHS will also benefit, because the NHS will have to pay the same price if it expects to keep them there. The highest bidder sets the price. It's not just about the money and your pay. Your working conditions will also improve, and the beneficiaries of all this will be the general public, because they'll find much happier clinicians, their waiting times will also be shorter, and this is not to be underestimated. You have people currently waiting 30 weeks, 25 weeks to see a specialist. I remember back in the day when I started losing my hairline started going all crazy. I tried to book an appointment with a GP. Bro, the receptionist told me I could only see a GP or a clinician in 3 weeks time. I told them, madam, stop. In 3 weeks time, my hairline would have just come out from my head top. You might ask yourself, why will patients agree to a system like this if they can get it for free now? You see, scarcity is just part of life. What we all want adds up to more than there is to give. And as such, we have to ration things in one way or the other. It's either you do it by prices, or you can do it by favoritism, bribes, or you can wait time. That is why some people have to wait 30 weeks to see a specialist. If you are willing to pay for it, you could see the specialist in 2 days, 1 week. And believe you me, it does make a difference. But you wait 30 weeks, you wait 25 weeks. That is the system, that is the constraint we have. Knowledge is the scarcest resource. It's either you are located by price or you wait for your turn. You will pay the cost regardless. By the way, bros, don't get too happy. I just told you there is nothing like true value. What makes you think these patients or institutions will choose doctors over physician associates? You might think because of your degree. Rolls-Royce is a car, Toyota is a car, Zara, New Look, they all sell clothing. So does Primark. Tesco is a store, but so is Marks and Spencer. It's very easy to do good with other people's money. But when the money is coming out from your own pockets, the incentives are quite different. If these institutions, in this alternative future I'm imagining, hire physician associates, and we cost them more in litigations, complaints, lawsuits, and this affects their bottom line. Don't even waste your time scheming. It will be our own end. They'll get rid of us because at the end of the day, profits and losses predominate in the free market, and they are both equally important in the allocation of resources. However, if they hire us, physician associates, they're able to cut costs because we are not doctors. And we're able to provide a service valued by the patient who is paying. And as an institution, they are able to maintain a healthy profit margin. You can go scheme with God himself. Zeus, Loki, any scheme of yours will be absolutely futile. Because at the end of the day, bro, money speaks and people listen. The rotational training is self-evident. There is no reason for your seniors to inherently prefer physician associates to yourself. They were you at one point. However, given the constraints they have, it's only rational for them to choose us over you in certain situations. There are certain PAs working in a single department for the past 7 years, 10 years, and you are there for 4 months. The incentives for training investments are quite different. But I think you are very right when you tell me I'll become a consultant in the future, and it's important to me that I get these training opportunities and skills under my belt. I think there is no way around it. It behooves all of us that our future consultants are capable. I, for one, if I were to find myself under the scalpel of a neurosurgeon, I'd wish they've covered all their basics and had ample time to do whatever procedure they'll be doing on me. Sickness does not care if you're a PA, you're a doctor, you are poor, you are rich. When the moment comes, you just wish the best person is there. So this is what I'll say. If for some reason in the department in which you find yourself, things are always going to the PA, just speak to the PA. Hey bro, I need this. PAs do not bite. But one thing I always say, respect goes both ways. I think that is the problem some of you have. It seems like within your head, you expect the PA to prostrate themselves before you. That is not going to be the case. What I'm trying to say is the physician associate gains nothing from you having a bad experience in the department or losing out on training opportunities. Just speak with a bro and try to arrange something between yourselves. In the absence of this rotational training, the dynamics will be rather interesting. Now, back to my initial question. What is the end game for physician associates? I don't know, but only time will tell. It's your boy Yoti, and I'm out. Salute!